Live, a Merrill Moss media production. Today we are thrilled to chat with New York Times bestselling author Daire St. Denis about her sizzling new Harlequin Blaze release, Sweet Seduction. Right here, ladies and gentlemen, we have this awesome book cover. To top it all off, we've also partnered with Lola Cosmetics for an amazing giveaway. So one lucky winner is going to receive a copy of Sweet Seduction along with a sexy bakery themed makeup kit, and it's packed with some of their best products, their colorless powder, a lipstick duo in sugar and spice, and a lickable lip gloss in delicious. So stop by the live chat page after the chat to win the cosmetics on booktrib.com. We have a fun dessert related question ready for comments. So leave your answer in our comment section and we'll pick our favorite. And Dare just dropped off for a second. She has a low connection, so we're going to just wait a couple minutes and see if she pops back on. But anyway, we wanted to show you the product that we're promoting today. It's pretty fantastic by Lola Cosmetics. We want to thank you again. So if you guys just hang tight, we'll see if we can get her back, and we will start talking about Sweet Seduction, her latest Harlequin Blaze title. Thank you. And if we can't get her back on, we will try again. And we have lots of questions coming in from viewers right now. So we'll also be able to share those with Dare and have her answer. It's windy where she is right now, so it's kind of interrupting the connection a little bit. So we'll see if she pops back in, so just hang tight. Hey there.
Hi.
Hi. You're
I don't know what
back.
happened. I'm back.
I
Everything
was just
just
like,
went
we're just
black.
waiting for her to come back. Oh my gosh.
I'm
So
here.
I told everyone about the giveaway in your book. I did an awesome
Okay,
intro,
good.
but I don't know if you might have missed it. So before we begin our questions, can you tell us what inspired you to write Sweet Seduction and just get us up to speed on what's going on with the characters and
Uh,
a little bit about the book?
sure.
Awesome.
Sure, I'll tell you a little bit about the book.
Thanks.
I heard that I kind of heard that in bits and pieces, but I'll just make it up as I go.
Great.
Um, so this story is about Daisy Sinclair, who owns a bakery.
Mhm.
Oops, am I
Yeah.
on? Can you hear
Yes.
me?
You disappeared for a minute, but you're
Okay.
back.
With a mother who loved Okay, okay. So my mom loves to bake, and she
Mhm.
always made fresh everything. And so when I would come home from school, my favorite thing was smelling fresh baked cinnamon buns and like the brown sugar and the fresh
Oh
bread
my
and
gosh.
everything's just like to this day is so wonderful. Such a great memory. So anyway, there's Daisy Sinclair owns this bakery, and she grew up there, and it belonged to her
Mhm.
grandmother, and it's her whole
Mhm.
life, and she is in danger of losing it. And so, like some people, not myself, yes, myself, when something major is about to happen, she deals with it by being in denial,
Mhm.
and so hoping that fairies will come in and magically fix her problem, which of course they never do. They just make it
Right.
worse. And in comes the hero, Jamie Forsyth, who is hot young lawyer
Right.
who's totally fun and rides a motorbike and um,
That's awesome.
owns a private boxing club.
Yeah.
And they hit it off immediately, but they meet under false pretenses, and it's sort of like shenanigans from there on. And there's lots of um, hot scenes and
With
yummy
baked
baking,
goods.
and yeah, it's just a fun. I call it my fun and tasty
Yes,
read.
absolutely. Now, I'm curious to know, what romance novels did you love to read as a kid that you would like hide away from your parents? Was there anything that you would constantly be
Oh,
devouring?
I my reading has changed so much over the years, but I think one of my favorite, and I don't know if it's even a romance novel, but I saw it as a romance novel, was the whole Clan of the Cave Bear series. Do you
Hmm.
remember? those with,
Oh,
anyway,
yeah.
they had some hot sex.
Yup.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I must have reread those
Amazing.
books over and over. Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
and then I love historical romance novels. I love anything
Yeah,
from Joe
absolutely.
Beverly, from now my favorite romance writer is Elizabeth Hoyt.
Hmm.
Hers are really hot, but she's so funny,
Yeah,
and I just love her characters.
that's
Do you
awesome.
yeah, and um, oh, there's so much. I used to love fantasy, but fantasy romance.
Yeah,
And yeah, yeah, I pretty much read a little bit of
yeah,
everything.
that's the best way to go. Now, what about
Mm.
your favorite romantic comedies? Like when you want to go see a movie, do you have anything, any actors or actresses that you love to go see in a comedy?
That's a good question. Um, I find oh God, I'm gonna blank on names. Well, there was some fun one. I haven't seen her in a movie in a long time, but Kate Hudson is always fun to watch.
I
Like I love
know.
that 10 Ways to, what's that movie
How
called
to
with
Lose a Guy.
Matthew
Is it How to
McConaughey?
Lose a Guy in
Yeah, How to Lose a
15
Guy
Days? And
in 10 days or
yeah, that
yeah,
was a
10,
great movie. She just makes herself so
yeah.
disgusting, or tries
I
to.
know. Trying
Yeah,
to, yeah, I thought that was really fun.
absolutely.
Um, and I love that where there's this conflict, but these people have this kind of undeniable attraction, and
Hmm.
um, yeah,
And I know that you're like a fan of like opposites attract and the underdog, and so Daisy and Jamie, I'm sure, aren't totally alike. So what kind of lessons do you think they come away with after being with each other? Do you think they really learn a lot?
yeah, they do. They both have issues with um,
Yeah,
family, and I think they both have issues with feeling undeserving of love.
absolutely.
And so, what they learn through the course of the book is that they are deserving,
Yeah.
and I think they teach that to each
Hmm.
other. So Jamie just goes to bat for Daisy, and yet she doesn't know it. And it's not till the end that she realizes all that he's done for her,
Hmm.
without asking for any kind of recognition
Yeah.
for the things he's doing. And she finds that so heroic.
Hmm.
And for Jamie, he just sees this woman who, no matter what happens in her life, she just is so optimistic.
Yeah.
And there's a line where he says, like, how can you be so happy when you basically, things are going so wrong for you?
Hmm.
And she says, well, things generally get better,
Yeah.
and so that's her attitude. So they have these different sort of outlooks, and yet they actually are dealing with almost the same core issue.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Absolutely. Now,
learn to learn it from each
yeah,
other,
yeah.
and they get some help from they get some help from some outside
Yeah.
influence. Jamie gets punched in the head by his brother, so that
You
helps.
gotta be,
Knock some
and
sense into
literally knock some sense into him. Yeah. And I know that I think
yeah
before when you disappeared for a minute into the ether,
into the
yeah,
abyss.
were
Yeah,
you talking about cinnamon buns and stuff like that? Because I know it's like,
I
okay,
was.
so I
Yeah,
want
I was.
everyone to hear about that because who doesn't love cinnamon buns? And it's your inspiration.
Oh, I
So I want to
know.
make sure everyone hears it.
Yeah, yeah. It's funny because a lot of the reviews I've got on it are like, you know, they enjoyed it or whatever, but then they're like, and you're really gonna want to eat a cinnamon bun after
Or
this.
during, before,
So
during.
what I was saying, yeah, or during, or yeah, and they're not healthy,
Yeah,
but who
delicious.
cares? I was just saying that my mom makes the best cinnamon buns, and one
Oh,
of my fondest memories from childhood is coming home from school and just opening the door and being, hit
oh,
with this wave of
amazing.
uh, fresh bread with, brown sugar and cinnamon, and oh, it was just so delicious. I mean, my mouth is watering right now as I tell
I
you
love
about it.
it.
So, yeah,
Um,
that was the
yeah, that's a great inspiration. That's the best I've ever heard, I think. Do you have a favorite bakery that you frequent? Is there something right around the corner that you like to go to?
That's a good, this book, in my head, I had a bakery, not where I live
Hmm.
now, but where I lived previously. And it was in this old brownstone building, and you walked in, and I think the reason I had that in my head is because when I opened the door, it gave me the same sense of when I,
Yeah,
talked about walking home after school, where you just hit with fresh baking, and they
yeah.
also had awesome
You
cinnamon
can
buns. I
smell.
don't like cinnamon buns that are really, really
Mm-mm.
sweet, but that are
Yeah,
fresh. And
you can
so
smell the sugar in the air.
in my head, that's the image of the bakery that I had.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So it sounds very charming. I wanted to take a couple viewer questions. There's a bunch of people
Okay.
asking. Jocelyn wants to know, is there any writing strategy that you employ for your books that you can tell us about? Are you a plotter, a
Writing strategy.
pantser? Do you?
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit, but I see the question
Sure,
up there.
sure.
So, writing strategy. Oh, I think one that I've um, come up with, well, I haven't come up with, but my friends, my critique partners, and I have come up with recently
Hmm.
is we text in a group,
Oh,
and one of the best motivators for us is we do like little writing sprints together throughout the day.
oh, cool.
And so, and then we hold each other accountable. So we'll say, okay, we're going to write for the next half hour. How many words do you want to try and get?
Yeah.
And yeah, it's amazing how effective that
Hmm.
is. But when I first started writing, I think the strategy that worked to help me actually get writing regularly was I would keep notebooks all over the place. Now that you have phones with you, it's probably easier to do it on there, but I like
Hmm.
notebooks. And so I kept them in my purse
Yeah.
and various parts of the houses, and I would just, whenever I had that thought, I would just jot it
Yeah.
down. And then, I mean, eventually I took all these papers together. But I think the key when you're starting writing is to just write
Exactly. Just sit down and do
a
it.
little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Callie wants to know any nerdy or guilty pleasures to speak of. Doesn't everybody?
Too many no, I think probably let's see. Chips. No,
Yes, me too.
wine. And
Yeah.
then I think some of the nerdiest thing I do is I love to lip sync
Oh my God, I love that.
to songs. So I
Like with a
have
hairbrush.
you can probably see it. I've got a mirror in front of my elliptical, and sometimes um,
I
when
love
I'm
this.
working out, I'll blast the music, and I'll be like singing along.
I do it in my
And I
car,
think
absolutely.
because I really want, because I think I secretly want to be a rock star,
Yeah,
but I don't have I don't have the talent, so
who
that's my
doesn't?
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to play guitar and just rock out. Kelly says,
Yeah.
can you name a random fact about yourself that readers might not know about you? That was one of
Oh.
them.
Hmm.
She likes the lip
A
sync.
random fact. There's a lot around. Let's see. Random fact about me. Well, I've lived lots of different places. So
Right.
I live in Canada
Hmm.
now, and I've lived in Chicago, and I've lived in Denver, and I've lived in
Oh,
Japan
wow.
and Germany.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so
Yeah, it was actually,
kind of random.
I know when you went to school, you pursued a different degree, totally different than writing. Can you tell us a little bit about that and kind of
Oh,
where it took you? Because you've been on some crazy travel
yeah.
adventures.
I have, yeah. So my first degree was in geography and
Awesome.
archaeology, which seems so different. And I did a number of overseas field schools, which were great. So got to go to places like Egypt,
Wow.
Israel, Greece, Turkey, China,
Hmm.
India, um, where else? Thailand,
Wow.
and study
Hmm.
culture and archaeological sites. And yeah, it was pretty fabulous. Um,
How
yeah.
long did,
So that definitely informs a lot of my
yeah.
writing. I have a lot, that have different settings.
How long were you doing that for? Several years or just, or-
Well, yes, for several years I did. The field schools were during the
mm,
summer, so every summer I would go away.
yeah.
So I was very broke when I finished
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. Traveling all over.
But you can't replace those kinds of experiences. So, and then after that, I was in that field for a
Hmm.
while. Worked in an environmental company, and then I got a teaching
Hmm.
degree and taught for a number of years in high
Yeah.
school. And then when my kids were little, I decided, oh, I really want to pursue my
Yeah.
passion of writing because I've always wanted to
That's
write.
fantastic. It's such a different world. Do you think you would ever have a main character be an archaeologist, sexy archaeologist?
I would love that. Yeah. Who doesn't want a young Indiana Jones
Yeah,
as a hero?
in an exotic locale. I would love
uh,
to see that.
an exotic locale, totally. Yeah, I've had a lot of ideas. I'm not sure how to make it contemporary. I've got some books that are set like in
Hmm.
Greece, and every time they always go to the ruins
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But yeah, I would totally love to do that. Sexy archaeologist.
Absolutely. And this cover is
Um,
super sexy, by the way. They're like having some little
I know.
nibbles, bakery nibbles.
Don't they look like they're having
Oh, they
fun?
are,
I
and
think
they're
it
having
looks
so
like
much
they're
fun
just,
that I want to know, like, I know they use like real models, and they're both gorgeous.
Mhm.
Have you ever met any cover
I know.
models? Like, ever been behind the scenes at
No,
the
but
shoot, the photo shoot?
no, I would love to
Hmm.
though. I want to meet
Yeah,
them.
I love it.
And by them, I mean him.
Do you give any like input on your covers, or do you kind of just give them kind of a rundown of what you think is gonna work?
I do. Yeah, and this one was really fun because there's Daisy actually in the book has a thing about sex on counters. So, um, so that was one of the things when they said, where are
They
they
need to be,
during the
yeah.
different scenes, I said, well, that sort of figures heavily. So they did that on
I'm
purpose,
literally looking, yeah. She's got
which I
flour
think
on
is
her
really fun.
arm, I think. There's some flour. Oh, he definitely has flour on his
Yeah, she
body.
does. Yeah.
Harlequin
Yeah.
cover analysis. I
Of
love it.
course, they always talk about the fact that it's a health and safety issue
I know,
getting
I
naked
know,
by
but I
food.
mean,
But
hey, I love it.
yeah, yeah, hairnets and aprons don't make fun
No, it's not
covers.
sexy. So can you tell us about the day that you found out you were gonna be writing for Harlequin, like when you found out you were gonna be published? Because I'm sure it was a
Oh,
crazy
yeah,
day.
sure. Yeah, so um, it was actually kind of funny because I totally didn't expect it. I
Hmm.
had sent this proposal off to my
Hmm.
agent, and I heard from her a month later, and that we hadn't been talking a lot. We both had a lot of stuff going on in our
Hmm.
lives. So when she called me, I thought she was calling to tell me that we were done.
Oh,
And instead she's like, "Oh, just want to let you know you got a 2 book deal." And now I'm actually have 3 more books with Harlequin, so I'm very excited. But
awesome.
I was so surprised. Like that was, I don't know
Yeah,
why that did not enter my mind.
yeah.
That was what she was calling about. So it was like, "Oh, that's
You're,
wonderful."
you're like, this is gonna
You're
be
not
it. She's
dropping
gonna
me?
be like,
Thank
you're
you.
cut off. I love it. That's a happy ending. So what are you working on next? Can you tell us what's next and are you following up with another
Oh,
story
sorry, you're
after this
breaking up
one?
a little bit.
Oh, sure. Can you hear me now?
Uh,
Can you hear me now?
Kind of. Can you type that one?
I don't want to. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, totally. I don't want to sound like the cell phone commercial. Hang on one second. Let's try
Oh,
Kelly's. What are some tips you'd give someone who wants to start writing? And then I'm gonna send through what my question
oh,
was.
okay. Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
Um, well, I did give one earlier, which was about keeping notebooks. But I think the biggest thing for me, there's probably a couple big things. The first is just making a little bit of time to write every
Yeah.
day and take it seriously. The best advice someone gave to me was before I became like an author, published author, which she said, treat yourself like you
Yeah.
are what you want to be. So that means surround yourself with like-minded people,
Great.
do the thing that you want to do, and call yourself that. Start thinking about it in your head.
Mhm.
So that's exactly what I did. I started not being, oh, I'm just writing on the side. I'm like, no, I'm a writer. And I joined writing groups, which was
Right.
critical. That's one of the most important things, I think.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
learned so much, or I continue to learn so much. And then the other thing is just sitting down and writing every day, making it a habit.
Mhm. And the question that I had for you before, I don't know if you can hear me now, but it's
Oh,
what are you working on next? So I sent it through manually too, so you can see. So
okay.
what is it that you're gonna do
Okay.
next?
Oh, what am I doing next?
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, I'm working currently on a Christmas book for Harlequin Blaze,
Oh, fantastic.
and it's going to be really fun. Yeah. So um, it's I thought, oh, how am I going to be writing a Christmas book? But actually, Christmas it seems like it just ended. But yeah, it's really fun. So I have a book coming up after this one, Sweet Seduction, called Big Sky Seduction, and it features some of the
Oh,
characters
neat.
from Sweet
Hmm.
Seduction. And then the Christmas book is called A Christmas Seduction, and it will also take place in
Yeah.
Montana, and it has some of the same characters as
Have
well.
you spent a lot of time in Montana, or is it just?
I live just north of
Ah,
Montana,
yeah, true.
and
Yeah.
so I have actually spent quite a bit of time in Montana, but where I live is very similar
Hmm.
to like the the foothills of the
Right.
Rockies with the
Really rugged.
plains nearby. So yeah,
Love that.
very
Yeah.
rugged.
Kelly has a question. She says, "What's the biggest misconception about being an author?"
That's good. There was a Facebook post going around that I was sharing because it was so true. It's like, what do my friends think I'm
Yeah, I
doing?
love
And
those.
it's like rolling in money. And what does my mother think I'm doing? And what does my partner think I'm doing? Which is eating bonbons on
Yeah.
the couch. And I think the biggest misconception is, I don't, I think just that it's like, I think everybody has stories. So everybody feels like we can tell
Yeah.
stories. But I think the biggest misconception is getting that story down on paper and how hard
Oh,
that can be
absolutely.
sometimes, and how different it ends up being compared to what you had in your
Yeah.
head to begin with. And then all of the stuff around it, like it's not me sitting all alone.
Yeah.
I mean, it is every day, but how much networking is important, how much writing
Mhm.
groups and conferences and getting out there and doing publicity and marketing and all of that is important. So it's not, even if you are an introvert,
Yeah.
which I kind of am,
Mhm.
you have to get out there and do other stuff
Yeah.
as well.
'Cause it could be too solitary of a venture, but really, writing groups are always great.
Hmm.
So speaking of that and just networking, any conferences or events that you're going to be attending? You're going to be anywhere that we want to know about?
Sorry, I'm having a hard time hearing.
Here, I'll put it through. Um, any
Okay,
conferences
thank you.
or events?
Now you're clear.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I feel like what is it, that
Any
Verizon
conferences or
commercial? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
yeah, can you hear me now?
Any conferences or events
Were you
coming
asking
up?
about conferences?
Yes.
Yes. There we go. I got it that time. I will be going to RWA Nationals. That's Romance
Yes.
Writers of
Big
America
one.
National Conference, which is in San
Hmm.
Diego this summer. So I'm very excited about that. Um, that's about it. Oh, I am doing a book signing.
Yeah.
That's very local.
Oh, great.
Um, at a local kind of little shop, bakery shop.
Oh,
So that'll be fun.
adorable. That's perfect.
Hmm.
Now I wanted to ask you a question about first dates. So what do you think is like the perfect first date in your mind?
The perfect first date. Wow.
I know. It's
That
like
is such a good question.
hard.
Huh.
Depends on the mood too, I guess.
It is hard. I mean, you automatically go to the odd to like what are our fallback first dates, right?
Hmm.
Movies, dinner, blah blah blah. But I think a good first date is doing something completely different.
Yeah.
And there was something I saw because I like to do research about all this stuff around Valentine's Day. They have something called oh, I can't remember the name of it. It's a scene. It's like rooms where you go in with a small group of people. You could go in with
Oh,
just one person, and you have to solve some problem.
like a
It's like a video game, but that you
you
really
have to
do.
solve the
And
puzzles
so
and stuff.
they had like yeah, you have to solve the puzzles. You have to solve whatever the crisis is. Like there was a horror room, there
Yep.
was an emergency room, there was
I've
something
done.
else, and I can't remember what the name of that organization is. But I thought, wow, that would be a good
Yeah.
first date. Like you'd really learn a lot about
You could be
your
a team.
date.
Yeah, I've done one of those before.
Yeah.
Like in my
Have you?
hometown. Yeah, they have them in different cities. It's called like, depending on where you are, it's like Escape New York City or Escape Boston or whatever. And
Oh yeah,
they have
that's what it
different
is. Yeah.
themes. So I did one. It was like we were on a spaceship and you go from room to room in the spaceship and you have to get through before aliens come or something or blow up the ship. So you're
Hmm.
doing all these crazy puzzles and unlocking doors and it's so much fun. But that would be,
Was it fun?
it's so fun. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Um,
Is it something you'd want to do with someone you know very well?
with someone you know, yeah, I think it's fun to bring like a big group of people. I think it would be interesting to do it on a
Mm.
date. You would definitely know your strengths
Hmm.
and weaknesses right away, and you would know if you got along. Because I feel like you could start arguing like, "This is how you do it." No, give me the puzzle. So it would be interesting for sure. We have a
Yeah.
question from Jocelyn that just came in. She wants to know, which character do you relate to the most in the book?
I probably relate to Daisy the most. Not that she's really me. We're quite different, I
Hmm.
think. But I just I think I just really like her optimism despite some of the hard stuff she's going through. And then she's a little bit crazy,
Yeah.
a little bit. So she does some wacky things sometimes. So I found, I don't know if I relate to her, but I just found her really fun to
Hmm.
write.
Absolutely.
I really like
Yeah.
Jamie, so
And
yeah.
one thing that I was thinking of while reading this, because there's the counter sex scenes and stuff, which are hilarious. Have you ever written a love scene that you scrapped because it was just too outlandish, and you're just like, this is so awkward? I want details. Like, what has been the most ridiculous love scene that you've just been like, I can't, it's too corny, or
Oh,
it's too like R-rated or X-rated?
well, I've written some pretty R-rated love scenes. Because I have, yeah, I've written some R-rated love scenes. Let's see.
So you're like, I don't know if I can
Well,
say
I've
full
had
detail.
I've had a couple with multiple partners. Those are
Ah,
always really tricky to write because it's like logistically, I'm not sure that works. Uh,
yeah. And then it's like the dialogue. It's like, who's talking now? Like maybe I should just scrap the dialogue and just
yeah,
describe.
yeah, I do have. Yeah, I do definitely have to go through and go, does that work? I was in this book actually. There's a scene where they're cooking
Mm,
together, and then the food becomes it's part of the love scene.
yeah.
And I mean, I was thinking this is really fun, but then I was thinking logistically of them being so messy
You're like,
and
no,
it's saucy.
saucy.
I'm
Super
thinking,
saucy.
is that really sexy? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Uh, but it's all fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That's too funny. We have for the giveaway with Lola Cosmetics, which I mentioned, we have some awesome stuff. It matches your book cover too. I just wanted to point that out. It's so cute.
Oh, that is awesome.
Thank you very much, Lola Cosmetics. It's awesome partnering with them for this.
Yes, thank you.
Um, our question for people to enter to win the cosmetics is what's the most sensual dessert you think out there for a first date or like a romantic evening? So what would you choose? Something that's not too messy, that's like fun to share. What do you think?
That's a good question.
I think,
Are you asking?
yeah,
You're
what do
asking me
you
for yours,
think?
right?
Do you have an opinion?
What do I
Yeah.
think? Uh, yeah, most sensual. I think, the whole strawberries dipped in chocolate sauce or
Yep,
with whipped cream, right? Where you can feed each
absolutely.
other.
Yep.
That's pretty
Nothing too
sensual. Because then
melty.
you're not getting crumbs
Yeah.
and, there's
Crumbs,
not, yeah,
crumbs aren't
you
fun.
can lick each other's fingers and everything else.
That's
So that's
my
fun.
thoughts exactly. So I'm interested to see what everyone's
And how about, is that yours?
yeah, that's what I was thinking, but I'm trying to think of something else and really I can't think. So I'm interested to see what everyone's comments are because I think we're going to get some
Mm.
crazy things.
Hmm.
I hope. So I just
I hope
wanted
so.
to thank you again for joining. We've come to the end of the questions, but we're looking forward to your next book and we've loved having you on. And I just want to say thank you again to Lola Cosmetics. So everybody stop by BookTrib after the chat and comment and enter to win. Thank you, Dare.
Yeah, thanks,
Have
Amanda.
have
Take
a great
care.
time. Thanks, guys.
Thanks. Thanks so
Bye
much.
bye.